Welcome to the Eastgate and Me, a series of 6 short documentaries recorded during lockdown and looking at the vital role that the Eastgate Theatre has played in shaping the development and career choices of some of the young people who have passed through its welcoming doors in the 16 years since it opened in 2004. With the Eastgate now open again, well, at least for cake and coffee, you'll hear from 8 young actors, some of whom now intend to pursue a career in the performing arts, all of whom have grown as individuals through their involvement with this iconic people's landmark. This week I'm talking with Esme Babineaux, an actor I've known for nearly 10 years now and whose versatility allows her to deliver male or female, comedic or straight characters with complete conviction. And as is often the case in Scotland, the weather played its part during our filming, which explains the occasional hurried change in location. If this film suddenly cuts and dashes off somewhere else, it's because it's actually raining as I'm interviewing the wonderfully styled Esme Babineaux. And I'm going to start off, Esme, by asking you, well, what have you been doing in lockdown?
I've been doing quite a few things in lockdown. On the artsy side of things, I've been co-writing a script with a friend, a fellow actor, and we've both done kind of like little bits of script writing before, but it's our first like really going for it project, so that's really exciting. I'm super excited for that. And on the non-artsy side of things, I've been cleaning my house, which is the glamorous answer.
Because you're fairly sort of cut off here in Roxburgh. Has that affected? Well, everybody's social life has been affected, but has that affected you in any particular ways?
I think actually, if anything, it's made it easier than for some people because, I mean, with the whole borders we're so rural, but especially with Roxburgh, it's so far away from things that a lot of my relationship with friends are predominantly online anyway, like Messenger and Facebook and stuff, because I don't get to see them that often because I don't have a car. So, you know, if I'm going somewhere, I need to rely on my mum. So, if anything, like, and also I'm a bit of an introvert, so I'd see people less than the average person probably anyway, so it's kind of like been easier to transition into this because I'm so used to like not seeing people and just doing video calls.
You say you're an introvert, yet when we put you on a stage, something happens, doesn't it? What happens when you get onto a stage?
So the reason I started drama was because I was like debilitatingly shy, and my mum sent me to a drama class in Galashiels, I think, in Langley even. And the first few weeks I hated it, but then actually realised that what I loved doing was performing, and it's very much a weird snap between the personalities for me. But as it's gone on and on and on, I've been able to bring that confidence from the stage into like my everyday life, because I'm chatting to you now. I feel like we have quite outgoing conversations. People say frequently that I seem really outgoing, but on the inside I don't feel like that at all.
You've done a lot of work at the Eastgate Theatre as well, Esme. What are your memories of that theatre?
Well, I started performing at Eastgate when I was around 8 because a group that I was with, Helen Grady, they started performing there. So it was this great experience of being such a young, small child looking up at like 200, 300 seats and being like, this is real, this is what it's like to perform on stage. And like, I think that's, you know, what did it for me, would be like, despite being so shy, being like, I'm in the spotlight, this is about me, even though I was like child number 2 in a play about cakes or whatever, who knows.
So you weren't particularly nervous then?
No, and it's wild because like when I started drama classes, I'd cry like every week. I didn't take it like a duck to water or anything, but as soon as I started being on stage, like doing a play with a script in my hand, I was like, that's when it was like solidified. I was like, yes, this is what I want to do.
Is it fair to say that the Eastgate had an influence on the way you have developed as a person, rather than just from the point of view of development as an actor and filmmaker?
Yeah, for sure, because not only is it just good to perform in a theatre, but I think like having it close by and in the borders, you get a sense of community. In people's like, there's always someone you know in the audience, there's always like a friendly face, and I think what makes that so great is that it's a really great opportunity for networking. So it's like you know, if you're looking through and you need someone, you're like, oh, I met someone at Eastgate that time, I've worked with them before, I can bring them into this project. So it's also about the relationships you build up with other creatives. So, you know, I've got a almost support network of people I know and have met there, but also like just the confidence of like feeling justified as both an actor and a person that I'm doing the right thing in a real theatre, and you know, like I'm a real actor. You know.
So it created it created an environment in which you felt happy to express what was within you. Is that fair to say?
For sure, because it's somewhere that you can always come back to, and it's familiar. It's not like, you know, you feel justified in being there, and so you've got the confidence to do things you might not normally do, and you know, it doesn't feel like you're a guest there. It feels like you're part of it. It feels like that's, you know, you're part of the family. Does that make sense?
The Eastgate is home to a wide diaspora of ages and professions. What would you feel if the Eastgate wasn't there?
Eastgate, as far as I know, that was always there first, and that's where things came to, and I feel like it really put the borders on the map for theatre, and like so many opportunities I've had for that would just disappear, and then also you wouldn't have that sense of culture and theatre in the borders at all, because like, and that's really important, even if you're not an actor and you're just coming to watch, or even if you don't watch theatre but it's something that's going on. It's so important to the community, to the wider community, just as people, just in the town. So that's really important, and also just, you know, there's loads of friends you make, and it would be heartbreaking if it wasn't there, because, you know, where else would you go? It's such a like important, integral part of the borders. And
it sort of one thing led to another in a sense, because you did some work with me in 2013, and then we did a bit more in 2015, because we had a couple of shows there that we ended up taking up to Edinburgh.
So taking those shows to the Fringe, I think what's really important about the Eastgate being part of that is that we changed a lot of things after we'd done the home shows, if it were, because we had an audience. It was the first time we tested that in front of an audience.
So we used the Eastgate as a test bed then?
Yeah, you get what works and what doesn't, what jokes need to be changed maybe. So it's like, if we'd went fresh into Fringe, you know, I don't think we'd have felt as confident in that everything worked, because it would be like, boom, you're there, that's the first time you've been in front of an audience. Whereas like having the chance to be in a place, you know, be at home with people, you know, in the audience, and like have that laughter and go, okay, this works, before going off to the biggest performing arts festival in the world, was a real like confidence booster, and meant that we could show even more pride in our work, which was, they were all great shows, and then we carried on doing them.
What's next for Esme?
So, firstly, if this script gets completed that I'm writing or co-writing, then that's next. But I was also talking about directing a play with another friend. So if there's a time for that before they go off to uni, then we'll definitely be doing that. But that isn't, again, something that needs to be, once lockdown is restrictions eased a bit, so we can actually perform if we want to do it live rather than Zoom. So that.
So you're easing yourself into effectively a full-time career in the performing arts then?
It's what I want to do. I don't mind having another job to pay the bills more consistently, but it's something that I always want to be focused on and working on. I never want it to take a back burner or be a hobby. I want that to be the thing. I would like to set up my own theatre company, but as many actors do, I'd also... it needs to be able to make enough money to hire someone to do admin, because I don't have a clue about the business side of things. So I can do theatre on a shoestring, you know, minimal set. I've got costumes in my house, rehearse in the garden. I can get costs to a minimum, but it's making enough money to hire someone to do the business part of it, because I have no idea. But I love like all parts of theatre. I wouldn't mind doing producing or directing or acting, or like even lights and set and costume, like anything that is in a theatre, I will feel like it's close to my passion, you know what I mean?
You're doing it in practice, and then you're presumably going to teach yourself the theory. Is that
I think that's
where you're going?
Basically. So I'm not a massive school person, and as much as I know university is different, I still think brain-wise, mental health-wise, it wouldn't be the best option for me. I'd like to go maybe someday. I have a friend who went into acting college at like 32 and has now come out and is a professional actor and voice actor. So, you know, it's more about what you do with the time rather than necessarily following the exact path that you're supposed to follow. And I feel like I've got enough momentum in my career already to just go for things and start working towards things rather than stopping working for 4 years to learn how to do it when I could learn how to do it on the job. You know what I mean? So I think it's just two different routes that anyone could take, and neither's better or worse. It's just, you know, it's just making the most of either one.
But it all started back in a little theatre in Peebles.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out to the Eastgate.
Because you're very, very good at playing men.
Yeah.
But why is that?
I consider myself pretty outside of gender anyway. You know, I've always been a tomboy. I don't really care whether I'm a girl or a boy or neither or both, you know. So, and frequently in Shakespeare, the male parts are better anyway. So if I'm going to get a bigger role, I'll be like, yes, I will play a man.
Is that why you were so keen to play a man in Love's Labour's Lost?
It wasn't just that. I liked Broom because he was sassy and clever, but also really stupid at the same time. So it was just a part that I was more attracted to naturally. And I think the reason, and even though there were really, really strong female characters in Lost Labour's Lost, I think just I could see myself playing one of the men better than one of the women, which is really interesting. Just because I think I did relate more to them. And yeah, the size of the role isn't important, you know, it's about what you do with the role, but it definitely did leap out to me, and it's definitely one that people talk about a lot. I think David Tennant has played Barone, so...
He has, indeed.
You know, anything David Tennant's done, I'm there.